the person through which the promise will continue. Do you just pick that out of 15 and 16 where Ishmael is clearly rejected to be the person who the promise will be continued in that sense? And doesn't the cherry picking take away from the arguments that you're trying to make if you're not taking the text for what it's actually saying?
To cherry picking, there's nothing wrong. Cherries are very nice. You can pick cherries, there's no problem. So that out of the way, I just want to say that we take the text for what it is, and I'll explain to you how taking the text for what it is leads you to understanding who that prophecy is about. This text, if you read the documentary Hypothesis, it was written by a certain author, probably living in the Southern Kingdom or maybe in the Northern Kingdom. When we see the sort of biases he has, so he paints Esau in a bad light. He paints the Ammonites, the Moabites, the Canaanites, all of the people that are not with Israel, he paints them in a bad light. And yet, when it comes to Isaac, you would assume he would do the same thing to Ishmael. So that would be the assumption if we're approaching the text at a very, taking it for what it is. We would assume to own that we would only see things that are there that are not good about Ishmael. But the fact that we find Genesis 17 in a text that is supposed to be a polemic against the Israelites, and we find in there the story of Ishmael, and God says he will make him a goy gadol. This is known as the principle of dissimilarity. Why would this be transmitted unless it was so true that they could never ever deny it? Otherwise they would have taken it out. They would have put in bad stories like what they did for all of the other people that were not there. The mere fact that it's there tells you it's more likely to be authentic than any other thing that is there, number one. Number two, if we don't take this to be about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, then we have an issue, because the prophecy will not be fulfilled in Genesis 15, where no single seed from Abraham ever ruled autonomously from the Wadi right until the Euphrates completely. It was only the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And in Genesis 12, it mentions that God says to Abraham, whoever blesses you, I will bless him. Which means there is no group of people on earth today, 5 times a day, that bless and remember this blessing on the Prophet Abraham besides the Muslims. Every day in prayer we say, Kama barakta ala Ibrahim. So when you look at the concomitants, all of the evidence coming together on one point, it tells you that this is very, very, very strong. And when it comes to the stories of Isaac, what we see there, the eternal promise, we have different ways of understanding it. Just as you would understand that circumcision is said to be the eternal covenant, but now Christians don't circumcise. There's a way of understanding it, and you're not really taking the text for what it is per se. Thank you.
قرآني نبض حياتي، قرآني طهر ذاتي، قرآني عصمة أمري، قرآني طوق نجاتي. قرآني نبض حياتي، قرآني طهر ذاتي، قرآني عصمة أمري، قرآني طوق نجاتي. آيات الله حمتني، غمرتني بالبركات، تحفظني من همزات الشيطان ومن زلاتي. آيات الله حمتني، غمرتني بالبركات، تحفظني من همزات الشيطان ومن زلاتي. قرآني نبض حياتي، قرآني طهر ذاتي، قرآني عصمة أمري، قرآني فوق نجاتي.